This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Factual Friday. Factual Friday will be hosted every Friday during the month of April by our agency, Montgomery County Women's Center, in honor of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Each Friday, we'll be covering different myths and facts to hopefully increase your knowledge and awareness about this topic. There's a lot of information that circulates about sexual violence and the people affected by it. The following myths are common and can impact survivors of sexual assault or abuse, as well as the behaviors and effectiveness of friends, family, medical staff, social service, and law enforcement personnel. Hopefully, this video, like I said, will increase your knowledge and awareness about sexual assault. Please go ahead and share it with those that you know. Okay, so the first myth we're going to talk about today is that sexual assault is an act of lust and or passion that cannot be controlled. I don't know how many of you have heard this or have thought this in the past, but this is a myth. Fact is that sexual assault is about power and control and is not motivated by sexual gratification at all. We covered this a little bit in last week's video. Rapists use sexual assault as a weapon to dominate, humiliate, and harm others. It's used as a way to feel powerful and in control. Myth number 2. Rape is an impulsive, uncontrollable act of sexual gratification, and most rapes are spontaneous. So we covered the first part in the last myth. So in this one, we'll be talking about the myth that most rapes are spontaneous. So, are you ready for this? The fact is that 71% of rapes are planned in advance. 71% of rapes are planned in advance. A rapist has it in their mind to assault someone, sometimes anyone, or they can have a specific person in mind. So, I know this can be kind of a difficult fact to kind of wrap our brains around. I know the first time I heard it, I felt like I fell right out my chair. But then the more I started thinking about it and having discussions with people, it actually started making a lot of sense. So let's think about this in another way. What are events in maybe a teen or young adult's life where sex may come into play? So maybe you're thinking things like prom or homecoming, or maybe even high school or college graduation. Maybe you're thinking about an anniversary, right? These are all events in a young person's life or even an adult's life where sex may come into play. So, around these events, there may be an expectation from one partner or an agreement between both partners that sex will happen at this event or after this event, that they're going to maybe lose their virginity or that they are going to prove their love to each other. And sex can be a part of that. So let's say that, let's take prom for instance. So let's say that my boyfriend and I decide that we are going to have sex after prom. It's going to be our first time. It's going to be really great. We love each other. And at the dance, one partner starts acting really reluctant. And let's also be clear that this could be either partner, the male or the female. Okay, so one partner at this event or at prom is acting really reluctant. They're finding excuses to stay at the dance. They're hanging out with their friends more than their date. They're avoiding questions about leaving the dance or heading to the hotel room or the after party. If I, whether I'm male or female, was really looking forward to sex happening, maybe again because I really love my partner, maybe because I feel entitled to it because this is a discussion that we've had many times, and we both have agreed that sex would happen. Um, so maybe I ignore the hesitation from my partner or the signs that my partner maybe isn't feeling secure with their decision anymore. I may not ask them if they're okay. I may not ask them if they still want to have sex. Let's say that they say that they're not really feeling it anymore and they don't know if they want to do it. I may guilt them. When they say that they're unsure, I may try to convince them that we agreed to this. We agreed that it was going to happen. And if I continue to push and we end up having sex when my partner is saying that they don't want to or acting very reluctant and I don't get that verbal consent, do you see how this is rape, how this is sexual assault, right? because I'm not checking in with my partner. I'm not reading the cues, the body language. I'm not accepting the fact that my partner is saying that they don't really know if they want to do it, or that their body language and their behavior is telling me and showing me that they don't want to. Okay. So a lot of times we can see after having this discussion that the statistic of 71% of rapes are planned in advance. It's the expectation of sex or the expectation that potentially a rape is going to happen. All right. And our last one we're going to talk about today is the myth that if a victim of sexual assault doesn't fight back, they must have thought the assault was not that bad, or maybe they even wanted it. So many states do not require a victim to resist in order to charge an offender with rape or sexual assault. In addition, there may be many reasons why a victim of sexual assault would not fight or resist her or his attacker. He or she may feel that fighting or resisting will make their attacker angry and may result in more severe injury. They may not fight or resist as a coping mechanism for dealing with the trauma of being sexually assaulted. Many survivors experience tonic immobility or a freeze response during an assault where they physically cannot move or speak, which we talked about in last week's video. And many law enforcement experts say that victims should trust their instincts and their intuition and do what they think is most likely to keep them alive or from further harm. Not fighting or resisting an attack does not equal consent. It may mean it was the best way he or she knew to protect themselves from further injury. Again, a lot of times when we think of rape or sexual assault, we think of it as being this very violent incident, this very forceful, very hurtful, very physically damaging. And that's not always the case. There are cases where it's a lot of coercion, where they're being convinced by a partner or someone that they know that they want to do this. There can be drugs or alcohol involved that can limit the victim's ability to respond or to fight back or try to get away. So 3 different myths that we covered in this week's video. We have much more to cover throughout the month. So again, every Friday, Factual Friday, we'll be covering myths and facts about sexual assault to hopefully, again, broaden your knowledge about this topic. If you or someone that you know is in need of assistance in regards to domestic violence or sexual assault, please feel free to contact our agency. We have a 24-hour a day, 7-day-a-week crisis hotline, and you can speak to an advocate at 936-441-7273. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next Friday.